It has been a long time since we have talked about the League of Legends Champion Collection from Spin Master. Here's a quick reminder of the original 3 figures that released in late 2021 and early 2022. But enough about them, we've got some exciting news. We have new figures. First we have Ashe, then Garen, then Senna, Akali, Nasus, and finally the behemoth Blitzcrank. Here's a quick side view of the box so you can see that Ashe is 4, Garen is 5, Senna is 6, Akali is 7, and Nasus is 8. Blitzcrank does not have a number, which is a bit odd. If you'll notice, Ashe has the original style box that the first 3 figures had, but these 4 right here have a new, smaller style box, and I really like these, and I hope they stick with this packaging. The back of the boxes are pretty cool. There is an art piece of the character's name, a paragraph about the character, and a list of accessories included down there. Let's get these figures out of their boxes. Here we have all 6 of the figures, and they are big figures. These are amazingly big, and you can almost see from left to right, they kind of get bigger. Maybe this guy doesn't get quite as tall, but he's a chunky. He is a wide, big boy over here. So let's take a look at each of these figures individually. So we begin with Ashe, and she's got a lot of translucent, light blue translucent accessories. This is a spear of some sort. Here she's holding on to this bow. It's pretty good size. She also comes with 3 translucent arrows, a quiver that wraps around the figure somehow, I'm not quite sure. So if it looks a little hokey, that's because it actually is. We'll take the bow out of her hand. The cape actually does come off. Well, I have a quiver attached to her at the moment, so it doesn't, we'll just kind of take it all off there together and get this quiver off. But the cape does come off. It's a bit of a soft plastic. You can see I can roll it around together. There's a snap up here at the neck area. This is what she looks like, whoa, without the cape. All these figures come with a figure stand. And so then we'll take a look at the articulation now. So it's pretty nice. The head rotates a little bit. There's no back and forth. There's a lot of hair on this head. Her arms go up pretty well. There's nothing here at the bicep, but she does have double pin elbows, so they can go up pretty far. She's got a formed left hand, which is designed to be pulling back the string on the bow. And the right hand over here is able to hold the arrows, the spear, and the bow, but it's kind of formed as well. It's kind of a narrow C shape, if you can see that there. She's got a little bit of a torso. She doesn't really go back and forth too far, or front to backwards very much, but she can rotate there at the torso. Can't really rotate at the waist. She wants to do the split. You can take her up that far. Now, when you go to bring these legs forward, the points of the boots kind of interact with the skirt area or dress and kind of prevent that. There is rotation at the thigh, double pin knees, a rotation and a hinge at the ankle. So, I mean, design-wise, I think this is a pretty awesome looking figure. I like the look of the figure. I'm not a huge fan of the formed left hand, because what if you want her to hold a spear and a bow at the same time? You can't do that. And also the way her left hand is formed, it's actually kind of difficult because it's meant, like I said, to pull back the string. It doesn't really hold the string either. And so it doesn't work very well, I don't think. This quiver is just kind of weird in the shape of the strap there. So I don't know. It kind of doesn't really work great. In my opinion, you might be able to hook this on her somehow without the cape. It does move back and forth. It is on kind of ball joints. Maybe I've got it the wrong way. Maybe it's supposed to be this way. But I think that means you can have it on facing left or facing right. So anyway, that is Ashe. Next we have Garen, and it says on the box that he comes with a Judgment accessory. So I'm guessing that's what this is. This must be like the Judgment sword. All you guys who play the game out there, you can let me know what this is exactly called. On his back, he does have a sheath that does disconnect. Instead of the typical round hole for a backpack, well, I think I said sheath, it's a scabbard. It just kind of pegs squarely into that. This is a big, kind of a bulky figure. He comes with a figure stand like they all do. Let's get him off that figure stand, and let's remove the sword, or the judgment, maybe, there you go, and his scabbard from his back. I like this figure a lot. I think this one's pretty cool. I'm all into knights and so forth and like that, the fantasy type of stuff, so this really is cool to me. The head rotates around. He cannot look up and down very well. It mostly just goes back and forth. If you want his arms to go around, yes, they can. This is a softer rubber up here on the shoulders, so if you want him to raise his arms, he can go up about that far, because, you know, if you're wearing that kind of armor, you're probably not going to be able to raise your arms that way anyway very well. He does have double pin elbows, so surprisingly, he can get his arms up pretty good. Rotation and a hinge at the wrist, and there is an ab crunch, and this is how far forward he can go, like that, back, like that. So this huge, massive belt really actually prevents a lot of decent movement from that. If you want him to rotate, you're out of luck. He doesn't rotate at the waist, at least not my figure. This one can't seem to at all. If you wanted him to do the splits, man, this dude in armor, he actually works out really well for splits, and he can sit really well, provided you you don't mind this. So this is softer rubber. You could push him down a little bit like that so that you can get by it. But yeah, this is softer rubber in the front, the back, the little bit of a cape thing there. Rotation at the thigh, double pin, knee joints, and he's pretty thick down there in the legs, so that's about as far back as he can go. He's got a rotation and a hinge at the ankle, and if you want to know how far back, that's about his backwards hinge, and forward hinge is about that far. But like I said, I like this. I think this is a pretty good figure. He does have a little bit of hindrance in the articulation, a little bit, but golly, this is a lot better than some of their Series 1 or their first two action figures. All right, let's move on. Next, we have Senna, and I'll be really honest, I am both happy and sad when I see that a figure comes with an accessory stand. The reason I have such mixed emotions is, one, it tells me that this figure or the figures are generally designed to be displayed. I like to pull them out and play with them, move them around, do all sorts of stuff. Happy because, you know, this is a big honking heavy accessory. I'm glad there's a stand to prop this thing up so it's not like tipping the figure over backwards or forwards or something. You know, we could actually display it properly. So that is why I'm full of mixed emotions. Now, real quick, this figure stand is actually kind of cool, or not figure stand, but accessory stand. You have two different heights here, so you could have the relic cannon here, her weapon, shorter or higher. So if I pump that in, pop that in, so you can have it more aiming up like that. So that's pretty neat in regards to that. Now, you got this thing, and it's heavy. For a figure, this is light, but for this figure's arm, it's kind of a loose arm, so yeah, this thing is heavy. Let's take this off of her hand here. Only her right hand is pretty much fixed to the only thing that can hold this, but that's what this thing, look at that, it's like taller than she is, and she's on a figure stand. That's quite amazing, that relic cannon. Her left hand is formed just to be kind of opened. You can't really hold anything with it. I think it's designed to reach under the cannons like that and hold it, so that's why it works, but it's very posed, and yeah, she comes, like with all of them, a figure stand. Now let's take a look at her. So I'm not entirely sure if you can take this off. This is a soft rubber cape. I'm pretty sure you probably could if you can get the head off. I kind of tried just real briefly to take the head off to see if you could pop the cape off. I couldn't get the head off. Maybe warm water, maybe a hairdryer or something, or maybe I'm just being kind of weak at the moment. But I like this figure. I think she looks pretty cool. Because her head is in this cape, or the hood, it's a little bit difficult to rotate all of her. She rotates a little bit up and down. There really isn't. Side to side from this torso, there really isn't. How about front to back? Well, let's see. Let's try and get her standing straight. They've kind of gave her quite the little bend here in the back. If you can see, she's got quite the bottom protrusion. Let's see, we'll stand her up, but torso does not go back and forth, so it's mostly just a side to side. The waist also rotates side to side, so you could do some kind of weird poses that way. She can do the splits extremely well. She can sit extremely well. And even that cape kind of wants to give in a little bit under her body weight. She has a rotation at the thigh, double pin knee that can go back that far, a rotation and a hinge at the ankles, and go back that far, go forward. I don't find her to be very hindrance-y, I don't know. Double pin at the elbow, rotation and a wrist, rotation and a hinge at the wrist. I find her wrist just a little bit difficult. If you want her to bring her arms up because of the hooded cape, her arms only go up that far. How about rotating at the shoulders? Well, again, this cape kind of hinders. That's about, she's looking like she's, praising something up there or something. I don't know, like, ooh, it's nice sky, nice weather. But yeah, she's not going real far. She's not rotating her arms at the shoulders all the way around. Even still, I like this figure. I think this figure looks pretty cool. And I'd probably at some point later try to, pop the head off to see what she looks like without the cape. Time to move on. Here is Akali, and I really like the look of this figure as well. I'm just not as thrilled with the execution of this figure. She comes with 3 daggers, one I have in her hand, and there are 2 more sitting on here. They're all, I can't even pick them up. They're all identical right there. She comes with this. I look at that and I think Fortnite pickaxe, but that's just because I think Fortnite a lot. So it's like a scythe or something like that. And she comes with this kind of rear hanging bottom. If you know in the comments what this is, please tell me, because I'm going to make a fool of myself. Like this bottom bag. I'm not sure exactly what's supposed to be in there. Just looks like little round Christmas tree balls or something. However, the reason I point this out is it's really actually not attached to her. This came separate in the pouch, and this is one of the reasons I'm not hugely fond of the execution of this figure. When you take it off, she's got this half moon thing sticking out of her butt. It's just coming straight out, and that's where this connects. And then there's a couple little holes up here in her roped belt to receive the pegs that are in this. So it hooks on just like that. When it's on, it looks a lot better, but if you don't want her bulkiness through the waist area and you want to take that off, good golly, she's got a something back there. We'll just leave it at that. So for the rest of this video or the rest of this review, we are going to leave the bag off. In fact, let's take this out of her hand now. So like all the others, she has a figure stand. Now, she is really, like I mentioned, she's really pretty bulky in the lower portion. She can do some really cool, like, kick moves, because only her right leg can go up because of this thing right here. That hinders this left leg right there. She's got some massive knees because of her poofy pants, but she can bend them, and these are only a single joint. This is not like the others where there are double pins there. There is she can also rotate there at the knee. This figure seems to be a lot like a 4-inch version of their figure, where the knee rotates and hinges and so forth, with a few extra pieces of articulation thrown into the mix. She can lean back on her ankles that far. She can lean forward about that far. They do rotate as well, and there are these really weird thigh rotations. What I mean by weird is the design of the pants just kind of make the rotation kind of weird. She can rotate at the torso, not at the waist. You'd think, she can kind of, I guess, but this is a massive middle hindrance here. She can bring her arms up crazy high, really good, really awesome. Rotates all the way around, a bicep swivel, and I believe this is the first bicep swivel. Actually, Garen may have had one, but I missed it. And double pin elbow, so she can really pull in her arms really pretty tight there. Wrist rotation and a hinge. And I'm going to point this out. She's got this tattoo, this art here on the back. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer so you can see it better. I think that looks pretty nice for, it's got some detail there. So I think that looks pretty cool. I'm not a huge tattoo person, but I can appreciate art because I like art. So I think that's actually pretty neat looking. Her head rotates around and has a very, very tiny bit of a bob. But it's like, I don't know if this is a ball joint. I think it's a ball joint, but the hindrance is, there's a little bit of hindrance there. So this is Akali. Akali. You have to tell me in the comments, maybe give me a pronunciation of how you say her name, because I might be slaughtering it. All right, let's move on. And next is Nasus, and I'm probably saying that name wrong as well. Let me know in the comments below. Just let me know if I'm saying any of the names right or wrong. He comes with his single accessory, this war or battle axe. Dude, doesn't that look cool? I just like the design of this. Along with knights and fantasy, I also really like ancient Egyptian related things. And this dude is very ancient Egyptian warrior fantasy-like, and I really like this figure. With all the others, like, he also comes with a figure stand right there, which is kind of helpful, but he's got some weak ankles. I have to really work on posing this guy out. So let's take a peek at him. Head rotates up and down just a little bit. Arms all the way around. Shoulders right there. Pretty nice. Pretty smooth. Bicep rotation. Double pin at the elbow. Wrist rotation and hinge, and again, left hand and right hand are kind of formed. Whoops, I snagged my light. Left hand over here is completely open. I think, actually, I don't really know what that's for because it makes holding the war axe a little bit difficult. The right hand is designed with that C shape to hold the war axe properly. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. And, you know, I may have just noticed. I'm wondering if I'm missing something over here. I'll need to investigate, because the right arm has this kind of a shield with a green jewel, and his shin guards also are kind of shielded with some greenish jewels, but his left arm, it almost looks like this is something that maybe the little shield thing sticks on. I'm going to have to investigate if my figure is missing something. He's got a torso cut there, so back and forth, really nothing. Forward, back. You know, Spin Master's, he's better than some, but Spin Master really needs to work on their torso. And rotation is all at the torso. You can't really grab anything very easily. Well, the waist does move, but it's difficult to grab. He does the split surprisingly well. This is kind of a soft rubber, front and back there, so splits, yeah, okay. And sitting, well, you're going to run into that hindrance right there. Rotation at the thigh, double pin at the knee. And he can do a little jig and a little dance just like that. Finally, a rotation and a hinge at the ankle, and he actually can go back once you get it. Really pretty awesome. That's actually a little bit of an exaggeration because his knees are bent. That's more the proper back. And we'll go forward. There we go. And you can go forward about that far. I actually, you know, I think I like this guy probably the best of all of them so far. Come on, dude, stand, stand, stand. There we go. But yeah, he's pretty cool. Let's move on. And finally, we have Blitzcrank. And I'm not sure if this is a special figure, like a special release or anything like that. He is kind of different. For one, he's got no accessories except for his figure stand, which we'll get to in a second. He also didn't have a number on his box. He doesn't seem to fall within the numbered releases of the Champion Collection, but he is part of the Champion Collection. Let's take him off the figure stand and check this out. He's got a really awesome looking figure stand. This is not standard. It doesn't have the league symbol or the L on there. This is completely unique and interesting to this figure. Now, usually when I see a figure this large and this bulky here, I'm just going to kind of shortcut ahead. This is the Marvel Legends size figure. This dude is freaking tall. So if this guy is a little over 6 inches tall, this guy's got to be, what, 7 inches, 7.5? I'm not really sure. We'll measure and we'll look at some heights in a minute. But this guy is big, and you would think he doesn't have a lot of articulation. Well, his head can actually move and go up and down just a little bit, just like that. His arm rotates at the shoulder. You can lift his arms up this high. And like I said, I'm impressed. He's got an elbow hinge right there. And check this out. all of his fingers move. So like each of these have they're all connected here at the knuckle area. So they all kind of have a base movement right there and then a knuckle movement, which is really cool. The thumb also has a back and forth. This one's kind of frozen up on me, so I have to fix it. But so the thumb moves back and forth as well. So that's kind of cool. And there's a rotation at the elbow. And then let's get down here. There is a rotation between the torso and the legs. His legs can go up, so you can actually have this guy sit. I think I like him maybe the best, just because of his interesting uniqueness. He's a little bit bulky. He has an ankle hinge right there. And was there a toe? I don't think there was a toe hinge. And there's no knee. So that's the extent. I'm actually impressed with the level of articulation that this guy has. He looks cool. He's like a steampunk golem robot or something. I like this guy a lot, and I'm glad they put him out. Because this figure can work with so many things. Some of these figures can actually work with a lot of things. You could even have this go with your 4-inch action figures. Oh, here we go. I put him next to a Fortnite figure. This is like a monster golem. This could be like your main bad guy. Or a bad guy. Come on, dude, stand up. Just like your monster golem henchman bad guy thing for your 4-inch figures. It's really cool. I'm gotta quit because I'm just gonna keep saying how cool this guy is. He's not real heavy, but he's definitely heavier than if you grab, actually. He's just bulkier, and he's not actually a lot heavier than even Marvel Legends. If I have let's get a DC Multiverse figure in here. So here's the Green Lantern. How tall does this guy stand? So probably maybe about that tall. So yeah, this is about 7 inches. So he's about 7.5 inches, I would say. So he's comparable to a McFarlane height figure. So yeah, there's really not much more to show about this guy except that he is awesome. He is so cool. I'm pretty sure he's my favorite right here of all these new League of Legends figures. I want to give you an idea of how tall these new League of Legends figures are. On the left, we have a 7-inch McFarlane DC Multiverse. On the right, we have about a 6-inch-ish Hasbro Marvel Legends, and then a Jazzwares 4-inch Fortnite figure. So here is Ashe. So you can see how tall she stands up. She's kind of just a little bit in between both those scales. Next we got Garen, and as you can see, he's just a little bit between the two heights. I think he works with 6-inch figures pretty good, because he could be a bulky big knight. Here we have a bladeless Senna, and once again, she's kind of just right in between. Here we have Akali, and again, about in between, although that hair kind of towers over Green Lantern there. Then we have Nasus, who is a towering ancient Egyptian-style figure. Look how tall he is. He has got to be like 8 inches tall compared to that Green Lantern. And finally, we had to make way and make room for Blitzcrank, because not only is he a tall figure, he is a wide figure. As you can see, he's probably about the same height as a multiverse figure, but I believe he would work quite well with 6-inch and 4-inch action figures as well, just because of the nature of the style of action figure he is. So here we have a final look of the latest League of Legends Champion Series from Spin Masters. Myself and so many others were concerned that maybe we weren't going to see any new large-scale action figures from Spin Master anymore, because we haven't seen anything in over a year, and it's been longer than that since the 4-inch figures. Now, I really like 4-inch figures, and Spin Masters, if you're listening, if you have somebody watching, please, we would like some more 4-inch figures. Even though I was a little bit critical to a few points, I still really like them. These are pretty cool, and even though these seem to be mostly sculpted for displaying and not as much rough and tough play, I still think these look pretty good. So what do you think about these new League of Legends Champion Collection Series figures? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.